Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. My name is Crux Conception. That's not my real name. It's a pseudonym. It stands for Crisis Intervention. People want to know how I got that name. I got that name because anybody ever heard of the rap group in America called the Wu-Tang Clan? Well, they have a name generator, a website you go to, and you type in anything you want. And I typed it in. I typed in because uh, I'm real advocate for mental health and social justice in the United States. And so I typed in the name Crisis Intervention, and the Wu-Tang Clan generator came up with Crux Conception. And I said, that's me from now on. So with that said, I am a behavioral profiler. I'm a retired profiler currently, do social engineering. And don't worry, I won't get inside your head. My mom says I'm like the Black Hannibal Lecter. Um, I was law enforcement. About me, I got law enforcement experience. I was a homicide detective, criminal profiler. We don't like to use that word in America because we're so sensitive to words. You can't use the word criminal, so I changed it to behavioral profiler. I was on a gang unit, hostage negotiator, and I spent 5 years as a special agent with the Department of Homeland Security. Teaching experience, I'm an adjunct professor. I teach psychology. I have a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in psychology, and hopefully next year, if I do good and you guys bring me back, I'll be Dr. Crux Conception when I get my PhD. Social media psychology, criminal profiling, criminal behavior, computer psychology, and sociology, which is why I'm here, group dynamics. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck is a cop, a former police officer, doing at a technology conference? And when I say this, I usually get similar reactions when I speak. I spoke 34 times before COVID across different 34 different countries. And basically what I have in common and what we all have in common, ladies and gentlemen, is as law enforcement, as a homicide detective, as a detective, as people in the technology profession, we all love problem solving. We like to get to the problem. And there we go. We got the heads bopping. And that lets me know that you're listening. It's part of active listening. What am I doing here as a group? I played high school sports, collegiate sports, and I've been on I had my own hostage homicide. I've had my own homicide team. I'm sorry, and I was on a hostage negotiation team. I was on basically I was on a lot of teams, and basically what I did was develop a method for using psychology, people skills, which we all have. You don't need a degree for this, and to learn how to make a team cohesive. Anybody can put together a team. Step down here for a minute. How you doing, sir? What's your name?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, Dan. Okay. Have you ever been on a team?
Yeah, I'm currently on a team.
Okay. Now, some teams are put together, ladies and gentlemen. You just put them together. We put Jen here, and your name, sir? Tobias. Okay. Did I say it right? Okay. We have you two on the team, and you guys don't know each other, right? Okay. That's what a lot of people do. That's what a lot of managers do, and a lot of supervisors do. They put teams together and they just stumble them together. But wouldn't it be nice if we can put a team together where everyone complements each other? We don't have to go karaoke, and we don't have to go to a pub, or we don't have to watch soccer. I'm using European tours. If I was in America, we don't have to go see a basketball game, or we don't have to go to a club. But instead of club, I said pub. And instead of saying basketball, I said soccer. See, I'm adjusting. Okay. With that said, we don't have to do all that. All we have to do is respect each other's skills and respect each other's skill sets. Defining groups and teams, there's a difference between groups and teams. A group is more of just like a collection of people, like I just mentioned, putting you two together that's a group. A team has a goal. A team has values of a common goal that they want to share to complete a project. A group exists for a reason, a purposes. It has a goal-sharing group members. For example, group members interact and they communicate with one another for formal or informal roles, but the people in the group influence one another. Like, for instance, if you and I were in a group together, and I'd say, hey, let's do this or let's do that, and you didn't have anything really, any options or any objections, you would follow along with it. A group has a leader and a group has followers. A team is supposed to be cohesive. A team is supposed to share ideals. Teams have defined as a structure of groups of working people. Groups range from a size to two. In a group, you can have either 2 people here or you can have 2,000. And if I'm talking too fast, I was in Budapest, and every time I step off stage, I've been speaking for 2 years since I retired. Now, I'm no longer a cop. I retired with 25 years under my belt. And every time I speak in Europe, they tell me to slow down because I understand this is not your mother language. And if I'm speaking too fast, just raise your hand or throw something at me. Okay. So if that happens, just let me know. Let's go back here. A dating couple. That's a couple's a group, not a team. Although we like to think we're a team. How many people are married here? Okay, you and your significant other. What's your name? I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude. What's your name? Marla, how you doing? Give me some dap. All right, that's good. She did it hard too. Dang, that hurt. Okay, with that said, do you and your significant other, do you work more together as a group or as a team? Now, now see, a team has goals and they work together cohesively. A group, there's either a dominant person and a follower. So are you guys a team or a group? A team, okay. All right. I've always been in a group and I've been the one that's always been told what to do. They tell me to go take out the trash, clean the dog poop up out. So I'm the yes boss person. With that said, we'll go back here. Successful team performances. We have this, you got to motivate for motivation. How many supervisors do we have in here by show of hands? Okay, 1. Oh, 2. Any more? Okay, all right. So group cohesiveness, basically you're sharing ideas and thoughts. Role assignments. Everybody has a role assignment in a team. Everybody. How do you have a team, sir? This is your team right here. What's your name, sir? Renee. Okay. With that said, Renee, this is your team right here, and everybody has different assignments. What's your assignment? What's your name, sir? Nicholas. Okay. What's your assignment on the team?
I take part of application for desktop.
Okay. All righty. And your assignment? Okay. You mind if I move around, ladies and gentlemen? I'm because we'll probably never see each other again. Not unless I do something stupid on the airplane. Y'all gonna be like, hey, I know him, and you'll see me on CNN. But I like to walk around and get real personal with everybody. If you don't, because of COVID, I totally understand. But I usually don't like just standing up there. I like to get real personal with individuals. Did you get a good shot? How about right here? Okay, that's my black James Bond look. Okay, all right. Successful team performances. Teams learnings are the basic building blocks of successful team performance. Oops, sorry. I'm apologizing to a TV screen. Wow. Okay. You have to learn how to be in a team. You can't just join a team. That's what we do. We do that all the time, except for sports. You have to learn how to be a team player. You have to learn how to be a team member. You have to learn the goals. You have to learn the rules. What we're doing right now in a business, in our profession, we're just surviving. We really don't have a formal structure. Team members work in a team, ladies and gentlemen, and they may be motivated to work harder because of this, but sometimes individual efforts decrease when individuals work in a group instead of a team. Again, I'm going to say these 2 different words. There's a totally different thing between groups and teams. Every team that sets tasks with creative problem solving is going to run into some issues, whether it's your supervisor, whether it's a lack of good equipment, updated equipment. That's another thing in law enforcement. When we talk about it, law enforcement gets outdated equipment, or their equipment is outdated itself. with the times. And what I understand in the technology field, sometimes your equipment or the things you use to make your job more easy, it may be outdated. So we have a lot in common. Creative problem solving. Luckily, there are many different techniques that you can use with your team. And ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. If you email me, I'll give you my information. If you email me later and get in contact, I'll give you this PowerPoint. Making someone in charge. Now, that's the big thing right there. How did you get in charge, sir, Mr. Renee? You just took it. You said, I'm the boss. Who's going to challenge me? Is that what you said? Oh, you was okay. So, all right. With that said, some people are selected by the powers that be, and some people are just say, "I'm going to be the leader. I'll take over." Who wants to be a volunteer in a volunteer position? And some people are appointed. This will help stop endless back and forth cycles. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a team and there's no one that's a assigned leader, I suggest you get a leader. It's going to make things a lot easy, especially if that leader believes in delegating work to everybody, not giving work, not assigning work, not demanding work, but delegating work to individuals that he or she may know is capable of doing the job. Don't add people for just adding them. I've done that before. I was on a homicide team. And I put my best friend, we're being recorded. He's probably going to see this. Okay. And we put, I put somebody on my team who was my best friend. It was a mistake. When it was time to go get the search warrants, he didn't want to write the search warrants. This is a search warrant in the United States, in the courts in the United States, a search warrant. Say, for instance, I wanted a search warrant for this room. I would have to describe everything. I would have to describe the number of chairs. I would have to describe the number of tables, the type of chairs, the material of chairs, if they're on 4 legs, the tables, the length of the tables. I would have to be as specific as possible. I would have to describe the screen, what's on the screen here. And all he wrote was a room. That's it. A search warrant for a room. Judge threw it out of court. So you have to be careful about who you select in your team. The purpose of meeting is to share ideals with one another. Wouldn't it be great to just have a meeting, a monthly meeting, weekly meeting with your team members, and to have everyone share an ideal? 2 things that you can do, and I learned this in London, so I can't take credit for it. 2 things. One, I do take credit for this one, is that we get everybody together. We have a weekly or monthly meeting or a daily morning meeting, however you want to plan it. And you put people around the table and everybody takes a turn. And there's somebody delegated there with one of those little stamp buttons to make it cute, those little red things you hit. I don't know if you guys have them here, but you hit and it makes a noise like a fart noise or something like that. Make it enjoyable. Give them like 30 seconds or a minute to talk. Hit the button and then move around the table. Sometimes that's good, but then sometimes people may not want to do that, or they may want to carry on with their conversation. Another thing is, this is what I learned in London, pass a little squeegee ball around, pass it. Flick it to the next person. Then the next person gets to talk, and you go around the table. And when the next person wants to talk, they'll go, wee like that, and they'll throw the ball to them. And I know it seems silly, but it's fun. It's fun in nature if you're with the right person. And not only is it fun, you get your ideal across. You can ask individuals assigning homework. These are for the leaders, the managers, or anyone who wants to be in a managerial position, or anyone that just wants to take the lead. Even though I was the lead detective on my homicide team, I didn't consider myself like a supervisor. I let everybody pitch in, everybody throw in the idea, everybody get in their 2 cents worth. Give people individual times to brainstorm, just like I was saying. Instead, give your team time to brainstorm so they can independently come up with solutions to solve a problem. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want these slides, I will give them to you, and also give you, if you want to present this at your place of employment, all you have to do is email me, say that you read it, and I will send you a certificate, and you can teach this, and it can be a certified class. Just all you have to do is email me back saying I read everything and I understand it. Set an agenda. This could be simple, such as outlining in order which attendees are going to speak and be more detailed. Such an offering breaks down the problem in hand. Basically, if you set an agenda. Sometimes, a lot of times, we go to meetings and there's no agenda. Everybody brings in their coffee, their notepads, their pastry or whatever, and they start, talking non-essential stuff to the job. Then it goes on and it lingers on, and pretty soon you know that you wasted 15 minutes because there was no agenda. It's very important. Thank you, sir. It's very important to know that you had an agenda. Listen to all ideas. It's just like a marriage. I remember if being in a marriage, somebody told a friend of mine, I was at a wedding, and I remember a guy went up to the groom and said, "Hey, whatever you do for the rest of your life, listen to what she says. Always listen. You never know what you're going to pick up. And they always listen to your teammates' ideas. And if they're good, jot them down. Write them down, and then let them know. And we'll get into later about giving credit to that, because everybody wants a pat on the back. Customer service support as a team. How many people deal with customers or individual clients that are not members of your team and not members of your organization, but you have to go in as a representative? Okay, this customer service as a team. There's other slides on this, but the main thing, as I was looking at this last night, the main thing about this is to have one person, because to have customer service in a team setting is awful. For example, outsourcing. I called to get my seat changed on American United Airlines, and they outsourced it. No. And then when they outsourced it, the individual told me that I can change seats and everything was fine. This was outsourced. I know it was outsourced. When I got to United Airlines, they had no record of it. They still had a big brother like me sitting in a middle seat, squished up with a baby spitting on me, and nobody changed my seating. When I talked to the individual at the Chicago O'Hare Airport, they didn't even know that I made a call. It's always good to just have one contact person. If you are in charge of customer service, delegate that to just one person and one person only. That way, there is accountability. With my situation at United Airlines, there's no accountability. The person who I talked to in a different country who was outsourced, he's not going to get in trouble for that. There's not going to be any retribution for his mistakes. Diversity in a team setting. Think about diversity from the start. And it's not just about skin color. It's not just about nationality. It's not just about age or gender, but it's the cognitive diversity which you get from all individuals. It's their background, ladies and gentlemen, the background of that person who is helpful. For instance, if I was on your team, sir, and your team required, say for instance, you were going to interview another person to put on your team. I'm not patting my back, but I would say, hey, Crux, why don't you interview him? You're good at people skills. You got 25 years of interrogating people, interviewing people, psychology background. See if this person's a good fit. Backgrounds, ladies and gentlemen, whatever their background is, look at that. I hate saying the word trust me because you don't know me, but I'm going to say this. I know what I'm talking about. This will work if you give it a chance. And if you're new at starting a team for your company, I implore you to try this. If you do this and you select each member carefully, and it doesn't take that much time. All it does is just look at a couple of resumes, look at a background, have them fill out a questionnaire if you need to, and you will have a perfect team. Not a good team, a perfect team. Address all aspects of diversity. Overlook aspects like age, disability, language, personality, and sexual orientation. Just overlook those. Look at their background, their cultural and their professional background, their experience, their education. And improve your recruiting strategies if you want to. If you're a team leader or a team manager, the first place you need to start is by stepping up your recruiting practice. And how you do that, there's, as you can see, there's no red line on there because how you do that is up to you. But The main key ingredient is improve your recruiting strategy. We are all here for a reason, myself included. Celebrate employee differences. A monthly team meeting to openly and honestly discuss things. Just like I said earlier in the agenda session, people come in for 15 minutes, gabbing, eating, and next thing you know, you wasted 15 minutes. Give a day for that, just to BS, just to gab. Just give a meeting, assign a specific day for a meeting where we just come in and we don't talk business, we don't talk team projects, we just talk about ourselves and we talk about each other. You know what that does? That lets me know what you're going through. It lets me know how you are personally. It lets me connect with you better. It doesn't mean I'm going to be your friend. Doesn't mean we're going to be best buds or work wives or work husbands. It just means I get to know you better. A lot of us would be surprised of a person's reaction and a person's attitude if we go, for instance, bowling or karaoke just one night. You'll see a different side of a person. You won't see that work individual. And what I do, if you're serious about having these days, I would do it outside of the office. I do it at a cafeteria or not cafeteria, a cafe, or maybe even a pub. Stop and listen. If you are a supervisor, but also if you are on a team, how many people are on a team here? Okay, if you're on a team, it's important to listen to your coworkers. If you're a supervisor, it's important to listen to your employees. More people get disgruntled when they don't listen to them. I do a lecture called how to stop social engineering and how to detect who's going to be the next Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden felt underrated. He didn't like the politics. He didn't feel that people appreciated his value because no one asked him how his day was. No one even talked to him. He was just a number to them. When we start feeling like numbers, when we start feeling like our supervisor can say anybody can have that job. Somebody told me that yesterday. When we start feeling like your supervisor can say, I'll just replace someone else, that's when we get disgruntled. And in all honesty, we don't need supervisors like that. We don't need employees like that. Improve your own leadership skill. If you don't have a title as a manager or supervisor, that does not mean you are a leader. I've been on teams before. We've all been on teams before, ladies and gentlemen. If we look back, we've all been on teams before where you look at that team member who doesn't have a title, but they're the alpha dog. They take over. And at times, in myself too, I get upset. I think to myself, who does he think he is, or who does she think she is? You know, she's not a supervisor, but in reality, that person had a value, a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge. Some people take over because they're natural born leaders. Those are people that you want, but you got to keep a rein on those individuals, especially if they're not titled supervisors because no one delegated them. You got to remind them that we are in a team. Evaluate your efforts. The easiest way to do this would be soliciting feedback from your team. Online surveys are an option. Every week or every time you have a team meeting, send out an email, have people fill them out. Or if they want to be anonymous about this, do it on a pen and paper where they don't fill their names. Have like a evaluation form before they leave that room. Just slip it to them and say, hey, slide it under my door or put it in my mailbox or whatever you have at the end of the day. And what that does is that helps a supervisor who's really serious about getting better work productivity. It lets that individual know what they need to work on. Know what you want to achieve in this team goal setting. Think about why you want to see goals and what you hope to achieve with them. What do you hope to achieve? Don't just put goals. If we put goals on, then okay, those are fine. But what do you achieve out of those goals, and what will it accomplish? As a criminal profiler, I hate going back to law enforcement, but as a criminal profiler, anybody ever see the show Criminal Minds? American TV show. Everybody ever see Silence of the Lambs? Okay, that's what I did. I profiled individuals. I got in their head, but the difference is a lot of profilers, especially with the FBI, they don't explain why they think the suspect or the person's a male white. They don't say why they think that they're a 38 or they're 38. I did. I let them know why I thought the person was either black or white, why I thought they had a college degree. Let individuals know what you want with these goals and explain to them. When you do that, you'll have workers that understand more and that are more sympathetic, and not sympathetic, but empathetic to your needs. Let people develop their own goals as well. After determining team goals, give people some autonomy to develop their own goals, sitting underneath team ones. Basically, what I mean by that is let them be themselves. Let them go out and explore. If they're doing something wrong and it's not jeopardizing your team project, it's not jeopardizing your company's reputation, let them learn on their own. What that does is that lets that team member know that you trust them and you have faith in them. Whether they're going to succeed or fail, you're giving them the opportunity. When you have people that know that you have faith in them, they'll do anything for you. Set deadlines too. Help the team develop accountability. As I was saying about the outsourcing, when you outsource, there's no accountability. That's why a lot of people, especially in the United States, they really don't like companies that outsource. They get frustrated when they pick up that phone and they hit that button for something and they hear someone and you hear like my situation, you could tell it was a long distance call, was terrible. I asked him, I said, are you have me on speakerphone? I could hardly hear you. Can you turn back? Can you put, take me off speakerphone so I can hear you better? And he didn't understand what I was saying. And that was frustrating for me. And when you get a frustrated customer, you may eventually lose a customer. You may have 1,000 customers. You may have 1,000,000 customers. But when one customer leaves, that customer is going to take that experience with him or her. And they're not going to be quiet about it. Somebody else will hear. So because of that one situation, you may end up losing 3 or 4 clients. Each new generation has different expectations regarding how people should interact with one another. It's all about just embracing your people's modern leadership, different styles. Some prefer text messaging. Some people will talk rather text message. I know there are supervisors out there and there are team leaders out there who really don't have people skills and they're somewhat antisocial. And I don't say that in a negative term. I just means they are more to themselves and they prefer to rather email or to text than to come up to you face to face and to delegate an assignment or to speak with you. Managing relationships. Own your relationships with those who work with a team on to get things done. Basically, managing your relationship with your coworker, your friends, and your supervisors. They are relationships, and they have to be treated as such. A lot of us nowadays, we go into a job and we go into a team setting thinking of one thing, of goals. That's it, goals. But it's a lot more than that. If you understand who your team members are, if you understand what they're capable of, then great. Individual, for example, we had a guy on my team when I was with the U.S. government, and his job was to do spy work. Basically, he put the trackers under the car. He wiretapped the phones. You guys are like, oh my gosh, America's terrible, violating so many rights. But he would listen phone taps. We put surveillance, put bugs. He was good at putting cameras in rooms where we were going to have meetings at. But he was the most snarly, nasty person. I guarantee you, when he gets 80 or he gets in his elder years, he's going to be the man yelling at kids to get off his sidewalk. He's going to yell at trick or treat. Do they have trick or treating in Europe? He's going to be yelling at the kids. I don't got no candy. Get out of here. That's how he is. But he was good at what he did. I don't have to take my grandson to his house for trick or treating. We don't live nearby him. We don't associate with him that well. But he was good at what he did, and that's what we value the most. Conflict resolution, resolving conflicts in teams. As a team, you are going to have conflicts. Soccer teams have conflicts. Developmental teams at Microsoft have conflicts. Teams at Apple have conflicts. The only key is, how do they resolve them? You need a mediator. Mediator doesn't have to be the supervisor, doesn't have to be the team leader. He or she just has to be a person with the ear to listen. When you have conflicts and you're in that middle position and you're sitting here listening back and forth, the key word is just listen. That's it. Listen and take notes. Then come back after everybody's done speaking civilly. Come back with your suggestion. But you need someone that is just able to just listen. That's it. Facilitate. Do not dictate. I'm a person of words. It's how you talk to people. For example, I was here and in Germany, the people in Germany who speak English, they speak it a different way. I'm what they call a sensitive person. Now, I have a twin brother, and we were sensitive individuals. We were basically, anybody know what the term mama's boy means? We were mama's boys. My mom, yeah, we didn't really, cuss or anything like that. And we had to come home early. And we were mama's boys. And so we were sensitive. And when I got into the police academy, it's like a military. They yelled at us. They yelled. And I'm not going to lie, my twin brother, he's an FBI agent, and there's 17 cops in my family. My mom calls us the black version of the American TV show Blue Bloods. But we called a vehicle driving, test driving. You had to drive real fast, stop real fast, like you're in a vehicle pursuit. And so he drove his car in the ditch, and they yelled at him. And we were 22 at the time. We're 53 now. He ran crying. They cry. My shoes weren't shined one day. I did the salute wrong one time, and they yelled at me, and I felt like crying because I wasn't used to it. So it's how you talk to a person. And going back to Germany, the Germans, they talk. So when I had something in my bag, and she said, "Take it out." Take it out. And the way she talked to me, it just made me nervous. I'm a big grown man, and it just brought back bad PTSD. It just brought back trauma. So it's how you talk to somebody. So empower team members to solve problems. That's what we just talked about. You don't have to be a supervisor or a manager. You can delegate that. You can assign that to someone else. When you give people roles of responsibility, they appreciate you, and they're going to want to show you that they can do the job. Any questions so far? Okay. Sorry I'm going so fast. Like I said, I will send this to you. Just email it to me. Email me that you want a copy of this, and I will send it to you. I just want to make sure we try to cover everything. Set tangible goals, track goals. Alternatively, breaking large projects basically into smaller ones. Some people say that sounds like micromanaging or compartmentalizing. No, it's not micromanaging when you have a team to delegate these parts. And I use the word delegate instead of order or assign or give. Delegating, it seems more diplomatic. Team effectiveness, clarify roles in the task. If you don't clarify your roles in the task, you may eventually have two individuals doing the same job. And that's just a waste of time and power, employee power. Give and receive feedback. Not only are you getting feedback as a team leader, or if your supervisor give your supervisor feedback as well, even if they don't ask for it. If your supervisor doesn't ask for feedback, start giving it to them and keep doing it. Bug the heck out of your supervisor. Keep giving them feedback over and over again until they get the point, because it is essential to teamwork. If you have a supervisor or a team that doesn't want feedback, I hate to say this, and I don't know your supervisor, and I'm leaving this country Sunday, so I can say this, but then your supervisor needs to go. If your supervisor doesn't care about or doesn't really appreciate your value as a team member, then that supervisor needs to go. It's not you. Workers with this type of desk, basically your area, this